The ocean was calm when the fisherman lit his lantern. Too calm. Leto had lived by the sea his entire life, and he knew its moods the way a man knows his own breath. But that night, as the stars hung motionless and the tide refused to move, something felt wrong. By dawn, his village would be gone, unless they listened to a dream no one wanted to believe. The night Leto dreamed of the ocean standing upright, he woke with salt on his lips. He sat up abruptly on the woven mat beside his wife Marisol, his chest rising and falling as if he had been running. Outside their nipa hut, the waves whispered against the shore with a gentleness that felt almost rehearsed. Too gentle. Leto swung his legs over the edge of the mat and stared at his hands, still trembling. In the dream, the sea had been glassy and still. No wind, no birds. Then the water parted as if pulled by an unseen force, and a man stood there, knee-deep in the ocean, glowing faintly, his form human but not quite bound by flesh. His voice had not come through sound, but through certainty. "At the third bell of dawn," the figure said, "the sea will rise." Leto pressed his palms to his face, trying to rid himself of the image. Dreams came and went like tides. Fishermen learned early not to chase every shadow of fear. Yet this dream clung to him, heavy and deliberate. He reached for the lantern hanging near the door and stepped outside. The stars overhead were sharp, unmoving. The tide line hadn't shifted in hours. The sea was holding its breath. He lit the lantern and walked toward the shoreline, the familiar smell of salt and fish wrapping around him like an old song. His father had taught him to listen to the water, to notice when it spoke softly and when it fell silent. Tonight, it said nothing at all. The dream returned the next night. This time, the luminous man stood farther from shore, the water reaching his waist. The glow around him was brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. "You must tell them," the figure said. "Move them inland." Leto woke before dawn, his breath caught in his throat. Marisol stirred beside him. "You're shaking," she murmured. "It's nothing," he lied, sitting up. "Just the cold." But the day brought no relief. The sea remained unnaturally calm, the air thick and unmoving. Even the children noticed it, their games quieter, their laughter subdued. Boats floated as if pinned in place. That afternoon, Leto found Father Emilio sitting outside the small chapel, repairing a cracked wooden bench. "Father," Leto began, hesitating, "have you ever had a dream that didn't feel like a dream?" The old priest looked up slowly. "Yes," he said, "those are the ones that stay with you." Leto said nothing more. Not yet. That night, the dream came again. Now the water lapped at the luminous man's chest. His voice carried urgency, but not fear. "The third bell," he repeated. "Do not delay." When Leto awoke, the sky was already paling. He knew then that silence would be a sin. By morning, word of Leto's dreams had spread faster than he expected. Some laughed kindly, others frowned, a few turned away altogether. Tomas Reyes, the village chief, listened with arms crossed and jaw set tight. "You're asking me to move an entire village," Tomas said, "based on a dream." "It wasn't just a dream," Leto replied. "The sea hasn't moved in 2 days. "The sea rests sometimes," Tomas countered. "And if we cause panic for nothing—" Father Emilio stepped forward. "And if we do nothing, and the warning was real?" The square fell quiet. The village bell tower stood at the center of the square, its rope coiled neatly. It rang 3 times each morning to mark the start of the day's work. Everyone knew the sound. Everyone trusted it. Marisol found Lito later, packing essentials into a sack. "If you're wrong," she said softly, "they'll never forgive you." "If I'm right," he answered, "they'll still be alive." At dawn, as the first bell rang, Tomas made his decision. "Everyone to the hills," he ordered. "Just until midday." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Reluctant hands gathered children, food, blankets. Boats were left tied, homes left unlocked. As the second bell rang, Lito looked back at the shoreline. The tide had begun to pull away. The third bell rang as the last villagers reached higher ground. The sound echoed across the cliffs, and then stopped abruptly, as if swallowed by the air itself. The sea withdrew with terrifying speed, revealing rocks and coral no one had seen in decades. Fish flopped helplessly on the exposed seabed. A deep groan rolled through the earth. Then the horizon rose. A wall of water surged toward the empty shoreline, obliterating boats, homes, and nets in a roar that drowned every scream before it could form. Palm trees snapped like matchsticks. The chapel vanished beneath white fury. From the hillside, the villagers clung to one another as the wave tore through the place where their lives had been only moments before. Lito felt Marisol's nails dig into his arm. He did not look away. When the water finally receded, silence followed, thick and reverent. As the sun climbed higher, they descended carefully. Nothing remained intact. Except one thing. Lito's fishing lantern floated in a tide pool near the rocks, its flame still burning. The lantern became a sign. No one claimed it as proof, but no one denied it either. The village rebuilt farther inland, closer to the hills. Children grew up hearing the story of the fisherman who listened. Lito never dreamed of the luminous man again, but every morning, when the bell rang, he paused to listen, to the sea, to the wind, to the quiet spaces where warnings sometimes hide. Because sometimes fate does not arrive unannounced. Sometimes it asks if you are willing to listen. Some warnings come wrapped in noise. Others arrive quietly, through dreams, instincts, or moments that feel out of place. The question isn't whether signs exist, it's whether we choose to listen when they do. If this story moved you, tap like, share it with someone who believes in unseen guidance, and follow Lanes and Lanterns for more true inspired stories of fate, timing, and divine intervention. And tell us in the comments, have you ever ignored a warning or followed one just in time?